Everyone thinks becoming a CIA agent is like James Bond or Jason Bourne. It's not. Because by the end of this career, you don't retire, you disappear. This is the 10 levels of a CIA career. From sending your first application to becoming something the government won't even admit exists. Level 1, the applicant. Everyone thinks getting into the CIA starts with something dramatic. It doesn't. It starts with a website, a normal application, name, education, work history, nothing special, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. Because while you think you're applying, they're already evaluating you. You click submit, and then nothing. No confirmation, no updates, just silence. 6 months later, an email shows up. No excitement, no congratulations, just instructions. You pay for your own flight to Virginia. No, this isn't a luxury recruitment experience. You walk into a building that looks painfully average. Fluorescent lights, cheap coffee, government energy. Then you sit down. 4 hours. Same questions, different angles. Where did you grow up? Have you used drugs? Have you ever lied? It feels repetitive. It's not. They're testing consistency, patterns, stress, and most importantly, whether your story breaks under pressure. Then comes the polygraph, sensors on your chest, fingers, arm. You already feel guilty, and you haven't even done anything. The machine can't actually detect lies, but you don't know that, so your body betrays you anyway. Your heart races, your voice tightens, and suddenly, honesty feels like survival. 3 weeks later, a letter arrives. No celebration, just a sentence. You've been accepted, and just like that, your normal life is over. Level 2, the trainee. They send you to a place called the farm. Officially, it doesn't exist. Unofficially, it's where they break you first. 9,000 acres of woods, fences, and silence. For the next 18 months, this is your entire world. You wake up at 5 a.m., run miles before breakfast, because apparently, spying requires cardio. Then classes, foreign governments, terrorist networks, intelligence theory, but that's just the surface. What they're really teaching you is tradecraft. How to notice things normal people ignore. That same car behind you 3 turns in a row. The man with the newspaper who looked up twice. The woman you saw earlier, now sitting somewhere else. Patterns. Everything becomes patterns. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. You learn how to lose surveillance, how to disappear in a crowd, how to walk into a building, and leave through a completely different life. You learn lockpicking, bugging rooms, taking photos without being seen. Stuff that sounds cool, until you realize you're being graded on it. Constantly. Fail too many times, you're out. 40% don't make it, not because they're weak, because they hesitate, because they overthink, because they still have a conscience that gets in the way. The ones who pass, they adapt, they lie smoothly, they stay calm under pressure, and most importantly, they learn how to split themselves in 2. One version for the world, one version for the job, and by the time you graduate, you're not the same person who applied. Level 3, the case officer. Your first posting isn't in some action movie setting, it's an embassy, somewhere in Eastern Europe. Officially, you're a diplomat. You attend events, shake hands, smile, make small talk. You look harmless. That's the job. Because unofficially, you're hunting people, not criminals, not enemies, just people. Anyone with access to information. A government official, a military officer, a secretary who handles the wrong documents at the right time. Everyone is a potential target. You start watching them, their habits, their routines, their weaknesses. And here's the part no one tells you. Everyone has one. Money problems, ego, ideology, pressure. There's always something. Your job is to find it and slowly build a relationship around it. You don't rush, you don't threaten. You become useful, a friend, someone they trust, someone they need. And then one day, you ask for something small, just a document, nothing important, just enough to cross a line, because once they cross it, they're not going back. Your first recruitment takes months, maybe longer, but when it works, it's quiet, no celebration, just a report sent back home, and the realization that you didn't just gather intelligence, you changed someone's life forever, and not in a good way. Level 4, the knock. Up until now, you had protection, an embassy, a title, a way out if things went wrong. That's over. They offer you something different. Non-official cover. NOC. And this is where the job stops feeling like a career and starts feeling like a gamble. No badge, no diplomatic immunity, no government safety net. If you get caught, no one is coming. Not the CIA, not the embassy, not your country. They will deny you exist, completely, which sounds dramatic, until you realize it's policy. They build you a new identity, a legend, a job, a company, a life that looks real enough to pass any background check, and now you live it, all the time. 24/7. Your neighbors believe it. Your friends believe it. Even your partner believes it. Yeah, good luck explaining your business trips. You travel to places where you're not supposed to be. You meet people no official officer ever could. You recruit assets in environments where one mistake means prison or worse. And here's the part that really gets to you. You can't tell anyone who you are. Not your family, not your friends, not even yourself after a while. Because if you slip, even once, everything collapses. And when you're completely alone, that's when the job really begins. Level 5, the paramilitary officer. They pull you out after a close call. Too close. Someone was watching you, following you, taking pictures. You made it out, but your cover didn't. So they give you a new option, the Special Activities Division. This isn't about blending in anymore. This is about force. You go through training again, but this time, no classrooms, no theory, just execution, weapons, explosives, close quarters combat. Everything is faster, louder, more final. Most of your instructors, former special forces, the kind of people who don't care how smart you are, only if you can perform under pressure. You learn how to move with a team, how to enter a room without hesitation, how to make decisions in seconds that you'll think about for the rest of your life. Then comes deployment, war zones, places where rules are flexible and mistakes are permanent. You work with local forces you don't fully trust. You rely on intelligence that isn't always right, and sometimes you're the one who pulls the trigger. Sometimes you get the target, clean, precise, done, and sometimes you don't. Wrong place, wrong time, wrong people. You don't talk about those. You don't think about those because you can't afford to. You have another mission tomorrow, and hesitation gets people killed. Level 6, the team leader 5 years in. Enough missions, enough scars. Now you're promoted. Team leader, 8 operators under you, 4 career agency officers, 4 contractors who used to be Tier 1 military. They might make more money than you, but when things go wrong, they look at you. You plan the missions. You decide entry points, extraction routes, contingencies. You sign off knowing that if your call is wrong, someone doesn't come home. You deploy to Libya during the Civil War. Chaos everywhere. Militias fighting in the streets. Weapons disappearing into black markets. Your mission: secure chemical stockpiles before the wrong group finds them. And wrong group is a very long list. You move at night. Sleep 2 hours at a time. Safe houses rotate every 48 hours. You bribe warlords. You pay informants who might be lying. You raid depots that might be empty or might be waiting for you. Then one night, the convoy gets hit. Ambush. Gunfire from both sides. One of your men goes down, 2 more wounded. You drag 1/2 mile under fire to extraction. Helicopter barely makes it out. Mission classified as success. 15 tons of chemical weapons destroyed. Official report, clean. Reality, you write a letter to a family, and you can't tell them what really happened. Leadership isn't about power. It's about carrying what everyone else can't, and pretending you're fine. Level 7, the station chief. 15 years in, your body's done. Knees shot, shoulder unstable, hearing, not great. You're 42, and you feel 60, so they pull you out of the field. But this isn't retirement, it's a promotion. Station chief. You're now the top officer for the CIA in an entire country. Everything runs through you, every operation, every asset, every mistake. You manage dozens of officers, hundreds of informants, people with real names, real lives, who disappear if things go wrong. Every morning starts with the ambassador, politics, coordination, damage control, because what you do can start international incidents or end them. Then come the local intelligence services. Some are allies, some pretend to be. Some you recruited years ago, and now you have to act like equals. It's a constant game. Trust no one. Smile anyway. Washington wants results. The embassy wants stability. The host country wants answers. And you're stuck in the middle of all of it. Every decision is a trade-off. Risk versus reward. Information versus exposure. Success versus disaster. You sleep 4 hours a night. Maybe. Your personal life? Gone. Family? Distant. Because this job doesn't follow you home. It replaces it. And the worst part? When something goes wrong, it's no longer a mission failure. It's a headline. Level 8, the black site commander. They need someone to run a facility that doesn't exist. A black site, hidden in a country that will deny it. The host government provides perimeter security, but asks no questions. Inside, cells, interrogation rooms, medical facilities to keep prisoners alive. Prisoners who officially don't exist. High-value detainees, terrorist leaders, bomb makers, financiers, couriers, captured across multiple countries. Never formally arrested. No lawyers, no rights, no record. Your job? Extract intelligence. By any means necessary. Techniques? Classified. Officially, enhanced interrogation, sleep deprivation, stress positions, temperature manipulation, waterboarding. Some methods were legal when you started. Some were legalized retroactively. Some are still debated in Washington. You tell yourself it's necessary. It saves lives. Maybe it does. Some nights, you believe it. Other nights, you lie awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if you're still one of the good guys. 2 years in, you leave. Receive a commendation that doesn't appear anywhere. Someone else runs the site now. You don't ask who. You don't want to know. You've seen what the system needs to function. You've done things no one will ever acknowledge, and in the silence afterward, you realize sometimes being right doesn't feel good. Level 9. The Division Director. Back at Langley, the headquarters. The building you first entered 25 years ago as a nervous applicant. Now you walk past the memorial wall. 139 stars. Officers who died in service. Some were your friends. Some died on operations you planned. You run an entire division of the CIA National Clandestine Service. Maybe it's the Near East Division, covering the Middle East. Maybe it's the Special Activities Center, overseeing paramilitary ops. Hundreds of officers report to you. Thousands of assets worldwide feed intelligence through your systems. Billions in black budget money flow through your accounts. Money that doesn't exist on paper. Money that Congress will never see. You brief the president, sit in the situation room, make decisions that will never be acknowledged publicly. Operations continue in countries America isn't officially operating in. Syria, Iran, Pakistan, allies, enemies. Lines blur week to week. Every decision carries weight. Some prevent attacks. Some inadvertently cause them. Bodies pile up in countries most Americans couldn't locate on a map, and you keep it moving. Because stopping isn't an option. Every choice, every success, every failure, classified. Every action you take shapes history, and no one outside these walls will ever know it. Level 10. The Ghost. You retire after 30 years. 30 years of operations no one can acknowledge. 30 years of assets recruited, betrayed, sometimes killed. 30 years of decisions that altered history in ways that will never appear in books. A small ceremony at Langley. 50 people attend. Most are colleagues you've worked with for decades. Some are officers you mentored, now running their own divisions. The director gives a speech. Sacrifices, dedication, service. You receive a medal, the Distinguished Intelligence Cross. It sits in a box in your closet because you can't display it. You can't explain what you did. You can't tell anyone. Everything you did, everything you saw, everything you know, classified for life. You move to a quiet house in Virginia, far from the city. Few friends. Most of the people you knew before the agency are strangers now. You wake up at 3 a.m. and walk the perimeter of your property, checking for threats that aren't there. The assets you recruited who were caught and executed. The operations that went wrong. The people you interrogated. The people you killed. None of it officially happened. None of it will ever be acknowledged. You are a ghost. And when you die, a single star on a wall at Langley will mark your sacrifice. No name, just a star. Anonymous, forgotten, necessary.